Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Good to see y'all.
Good seeing you.
Trying to get my act together. Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
Oh my goodness, Bob. Hey, how you doing?
Hey,
Bob is back.
So where you been, man?
I don't know.
Oh, at the
Gardening, I
beach?
guess.
Pretty much where it is.
You been at the beach?
No.
No,
Did you say gardening?
right.
Nice.
Oh, well, that's good.
You able to ship us fresh vegetables?
I don't think so.
Would you eat them all already?
I give a lot of them away.
Oh, well, that's good too.
Yep. Keeps the neighbors happy.
That's right. Seeing that you're only there half the time, you got to make them happy.
Yeah, they don't like to garden, so they cultivate me instead of a garden.
Good. That's very good.
All right, well, let's get started this morning. I'm going to go live on Facebook where we can do both places today. Good to see all of y'all. Thanks so much for joining me. We missed the last couple of meeting Mondays for very, very good reasons. I've been on grand duty, so I've had my granddaughters the last 2 weeks, but was free today, so glad we can get together, and so good to see you. Today I want to talk about two things that I see as related, and they may not be. You may disagree and feel like that they're not related. I think they're both really important for us to look at in terms of our own lives and how we interact with the world, but then also for those who surround us. And I want to talk about gaslighting and conspiracy theories. I feel like there's a connection, there's a relationship. I feel like often gaslighting is on a micro level and conspiracy theories are more on a macro level. I feel like gaslighting is often on a personal level, where conspiracy theories are more on a societal level. I wonder if you would think just for a minute, if you have either currently or have had anyone in your life who gaslights you, who, for whatever reason, and we can examine why that might be, but the things they say, the way they treat you, there's an agenda behind it. There's a desire to convince you of something that does not line up with reality. Do you have anyone in your life who's always got a conspiracy theory? Something happens and immediately they can tell you exactly why it happened, who's behind it, what's really going on. Not just what happened, but the things you don't know, because they have special information and insight like few people do. So just think for a moment, if you will, and let's start with the gaslighting part. If you're having a conversation with someone, maybe a disagreement, maybe something has come up and you're just dealing with it. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe you're at a family gathering and someone is remembering, and I'm putting that in quotes, an event or a family history that does not line up with reality, does not line up with what really happened. Now, I'm not talking about misremembering. I'm not talking about we all have a different view or angle on whatever happened, or that we have a different perspective. When so-and-so died, and let's say Uncle Joe died, and his will was far more favorable to you than it was to me. That might be the facts. Uncle Joe may have left you his 67 Mustang, and I always really wanted that car. There are the facts of what happened, but then there's the feelings. I could feel really hurt and wronged by Uncle Joe. I could believe that Joe promised me that car, and all of a sudden he does something different. And so I may want to come up with reasons why. And in fact, I may want to accuse you of manipulating Uncle Joe before he died. Even he's laying there on his deathbed, and you go in there and convince him to give you that car, to leave you that car in his will. So we have a discussion about it. And what if I say, you are crazy? You are not remembering what really happened. I'm telling you, I know what happened, and that's not what happened. You don't know what you're talking about. Do you realize that you're imagining things? You're making all this up. Oh, you're upset now? You don't need to be so sensitive. What is wrong with you? Why are you always getting your feelings hurt? Gaslighting refers to the intentional attempts to manipulate you into doubting your feelings, perception of events, and reality in general. Now, do you have anyone in your life who discounts your feelings? You feel a certain way about something, and rather than accepting you and extending to you grace and unconditional love or unconditional acceptance, same thing, they actually say you shouldn't be feeling that. You are wrong. They shame you for what you feel. Now, when it comes to what actually happened in a situation, there are objective facts. Oftentimes, there are objective facts. I'm not talking about disagreeing on those right now. What I'm talking about is someone saying you should not feel the way you feel. But guess what? We feel how we feel. And the feelings we have about something, they are most likely temporary. We might get very upset, very emotional about something that happens. We may feel wronged, and that upsets us. We should think about, if we reverse the perspective, if we reverse this and say, when we are disagreeing with someone about something that has happened, we should question ourselves and make sure we are not discounting the way someone feels. We can disagree about facts. We can disagree about what happened. We can share our perspective. And in doing so, we should honor the perspective of others and have a genuine dialogue, discussion. But we should not discount the way someone feels about something. Now, when it comes to gaslighting, there's an actual, as we read the definition, an actual intentional attempt to manipulate. So it's not just a disagreement. It's not just a, hey, I see it this way, you see it that way. It's someone actually manipulating you into doubting the way you feel about something, in doubting the way you perceive it, the way you experience it. And maybe they want you to question reality in general, what they're going to call your reality. Just by show of hands, anybody have had that experience at any time? Some have, some haven't. I feel like this most often happens in our interpersonal relationships, but it does happen in communities too. There may be a religious community, a family myth that is not allowed to be questioned, political or social group, some kind of connective, cohesive group where perhaps there's a leader and there's an agreed upon reality. And you are not allowed to question that. You are not allowed to investigate that. If we would say that the truth actually matters and that the best thing we could do is be open to the truth. When something happens, when there's an event, there's a discussion, an argument, an interaction, we're going to have thoughts about it. We're going to have perceptions. We're going to have feelings. Some of those are going to be wrong. I mean, immediately, some of those are going to be wrong. Let's say Ellen does something that really hurts my feelings. She said something that I thought was so insensitive and cruel, actually hateful, and I thought it was directed directly toward me. And she did not have a single thought. It was not about me. It had nothing to do with me. She didn't see anything she was doing as saying as being hateful or wrong or mean or anything. If I remain open and we continue our dialogue, we continue our discussion, I might very well get some insight into what she really meant and what she was really saying and realize it wasn't directed toward me at all. And I wonder how many situations we're in where we feel like something is about us or has to do with us when it has nothing to do with us. The other person, whatever they're saying, doing is mostly all about them and where they are and what they're thinking and what's going on in their lives. And we walk around getting our feelings hurt and are insecure and always upset because we take things so personally when the vast majority of the time it's not personal at all. It's not intended toward us. We're not talking about that. We're talking about an intentional gaslighting, an intentional manipulation. So if you're in this, say, this family dynamic, and there's let's say a controlling mother who wants to be the one who says exactly what happened in family history. If you question that, you say, Mom, that's not the way I remember it. I don't think that's not how it happened. Is there the immediate, hey, you're crazy, you don't recall? These intentional attempts to manipulate, to get you to doubt your feelings, to discount your feelings, to say, you shouldn't feel that way. What's wrong with you? I raised you better than that. To question your perceptions, for this person to define what reality is. In any group, in any interpersonal interactions, not one person should define what reality is. We all bring aspects. We share. I'm saying the best way to live is remain open, because information is continually coming. One of the greatest signs that we are open and evolving is changing our minds. Having one perception, we get more information and we realize I was wrong about that. That was not what I thought it was. What Ellen said had nothing to do with me. And now I know. So that initial hurt, that rejection, that whatever it was that I felt, I've let that go so that our future interactions don't include that. I want to remain open. If you feel like someone is intentionally gaslighting you, what a lot of times what they'll do is they will trivialize your feelings. They'll say that your emotions don't matter. They'll say you're overreacting. They'll question your memory. They'll even make up new details or deny something completely. And you're like, what? Am I in the twilight zone? What just happened? I know what I saw. I remember what happened, even if obviously I don't have, perfect total memory or recall of it. I know that what you're saying is not true. You're saying it didn't happen, or you're saying it happened a completely different way. So they counter you with questioning your memory, and then they withhold. They'll brush off any attempts you have to discuss it. They'll accuse you of trying to confuse them, or they'll resort to tactics of diversion. They'll either change the subject or make it about something else, and they'll often accuse you. They'll also act like they either deny what happened or they've forgotten it. Oh, I don't remember that. That happened? Oh, I don't think that's the case. I'm not sure. I don't think you're remembering that. A few quick things to do when you feel like you're being gaslighted. And again, this can be at work. This can be a coworker, a boss. This could be in a family dynamic, in a friendship, in your religious organization, your political party, any number of some sort of online community. You could be involved in you have a online book club or a group where you discuss health issues or collecting Star Wars, whatever it happens to be. There can this kind of behavior can show up in a variety of ways. The first thing I would say is do your best to confirm that's what's happening. Look at it as objectively as you can. That'll often require like taking a little step back and see if there is an obvious intent to manipulate. One of my granddaughters is into YouTube videos. She loves watching YouTube videos. I don't know that platform will be as popular when she's older. If it is, I could foresee her being a YouTuber, having her own channel and doing stuff. But she's very young, and she watches a lot of the shorts. The shorts are like clips. They're usually seconds. They might be 7-10 seconds. I don't know exactly, but something like that. And they will often say, if you love your family, you will like and subscribe before this video ends. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, that's manipulation. That is, she didn't even understand what was going on. They would say other things too. Like if you don't hate God, you will like and subscribe before this video ends. Just all kind of things like that. And I was trying to teach her and show her what manipulation is and what these, obviously what they're trying to do is get likes and subscribes, followers. And these short clips, I think, are designed to do that more than any other content out there. And so if you're in a situation where you feel like someone is intentionally manipulating you, try to do a little bit of research, a little bit of looking, talking, observing to make sure that is actually what's happening. If it is, or you believe it is, then I would create some space in that situation. You might say, this is someone who is just doesn't need to be in my life. There's no reason for me to be interacting with this person. If the person is your boss or your coworker or your family member, you might not feel like you can not have this person in your life. So then you're going to have to deal with what they're doing. And so I would say create some space, just some distance. And we often talk about this in terms of when something happens, if we can have a little space, just a little distance where we respond instead of an immediate reaction. If we have an immediate reaction, it's often because there's no space there. We talked about how meditation helps create that sense of space, and there can be those moments of reflection before we react. And instead of reacting, we actually respond. In this situation, I would say create some space so you can not be manipulated, not be made to feel crazy or deranged, or whatever the case may be. Or it may actually be that you're saying some very crazy things, and when they're not manipulating you, they're trying to get you to see reality. Are we open to that? Are we open to saying this thing that I'm so convinced of is not true? It's been a very long time now, but earlier in life, when I was a younger man, I would occasionally wake up in the middle of the night, and whatever I was dreaming about, often something like an intense situation, sort of it came with me, right? So out of the underworld, out of the dream world, I brought it into my present reality. So if let's say I was trying to protect one of my children from someone trying to do them harm, if I woke up, I could actually believe that was still happening. And it was as real to me as anything. And it took a moment to see, oh, that's a dream. Oh, I was still, my headspace was still in that dream. But in that moment, I was convinced that was reality. I feel like we deal with people like that all the time, and it's not a dream. It is the reality that's going on inside their head. Sometimes it is related to mental illness. Sometimes it is related to, let's say, some sort of chemical imbalance, hormonal issue. And it would be something that they would fight you to the death over. They believe it more than anything there is. And then maybe you see them the following week and they don't believe it at all. They realize that thing I was so upset about, that I was having a day where things weren't. Maybe that's the case. We need to be open enough to look at these things. But if someone is really manipulating you, create that space. Maybe look for some evidence of what actually happened. There's a lot of times where someone, we see this. I don't know if you like I do, but I read, listen to, watch a lot of true crime. And very often in court cases, when someone's under oath giving testimony, they lie. Well, the way a prosecutor or defense attorney can prove that they're lying is to show a written record. And that written record could be transcripts of texts. No, Your Honor, no, jury, I never said anything like that. And they show your text and you said exactly that. Or that you say, no, there was nobody on the lawn when I left the party. And they say, well, now, in the previous proceedings, this is your testimony. And you said as you were leaving, there was a large black mass over there, sort of half buried in the snow in the front corner of the yard. Now, which is it? So look for some evidence. See what objective reality is. Speak up for yourself. Say what is true to the best of your ability, being open to the unfolding nature of truth where you're gaining more information. Involve others if need be. And in a court case, that's what it's all about. This event happens. Let's say that just to pull something from a recent court case, let's say you're on a movie set and it's a Western, and instead of a blank in one of the prop guns, there's a live round and someone is killed. And then suddenly everybody's looking, who gets the blame for that? Is it the person who provided the so-called blanks, the dummy rounds? Is it the armorer who loaded the gun and is in charge of all the weapons on set? Is it the actor who was acting recklessly and not? What is it? And so you examine it and you look at and you bring in others and say, well, what is your perspective? Where were you standing? What did you see? But when we start with issues like that, we need to remember that our memories and our perspectives are never 100% accurate. All you have to do is study true crime for just a minute, and you'll see that one of the most unreliable elements there are is eyewitnesses, especially, you say you see a car accident. That's shocking. It's impactful. It upsets you. You may not remember it exactly like it happens. When I was in my early 20s, I witnessed a horrific car accident. And I was directly behind this mother and small child who was not in a car seat, who was actually playing I could see him playing in the back seat and running, around the car. And the mother on this rural highway was going to pass a school bus. And so she jerks her car out into the passing lane, and there's a pickup right there, head-on collision. It was horrific. And then the bus keeps going. I'm the only one there. And there's, we're in the middle of nowhere. The car catches on fire. The two people in the car are dead, the mother and child. The two men in the truck are alive, but they can't get out. They're trapped because of what the wreck did to the doors. And fire is coming from the car spreading to the truck. So I have to act, and fortunately, someone came by a few minutes later and had some tools in the back of his truck. One was a pickaxe, and we're able to open the door and get them out, drag them to safety as the truck and car, burned and the gas tank started exploding. But the moment it happened, and this was a time where what I had was a bag phone in my vehicle. It was not actual cell phones. When I called to report it, I thought I knew where we were. And I can tell you it happened between where I live in Weehitchka and the next town over, Bluntstown. But I thought we were somewhere close to the county line, and we were miles and miles past that. So I gave the wrong. I was like, this is where we are. I didn't even say I think this is where I think we are. I was like, this is where we are, and it was absolutely wrong. I was, the situation I've just described. I was trying to deal with that, and very often when something happens, we have an immediate reaction. We have our filters and all the ways in which we see it. As much as we should question events and question others, we should be questioning ourselves. because our memories, our thoughts, our reactions, our perceptions are never accurate. And so we should be open enough to question ourselves as well. As a part of all this process, if you involve others, you get their perspective. The most important thing is being committed to the truth. What is the truth? How can I want to get as close to the truth as I possibly can. And my ego, my triggers, emotions, they're trying to prevent me from that. And then if there's someone actually gaslighting, they're trying to prevent me from that. But if my commitment is to the truth, I'm going to take a step back from that person, from that situation. I'm also going to be honest enough to look within and see how I'm misremembering, how I'm not perceiving things as they really are. Throughout this whole process, if you're being gaslighted, one of the most important things you need to do is to take care of yourself. Maybe that means talking to a counselor. Maybe that means involving family members or friends who can be supportive and helpful. But that is part of what you need to do. This is, to me, on the micro level. On the macro level, we are living in a world where conspiracy theories are more popular than ever before. Something happens, and immediately there are people that are going to tell you the secret, the hidden information that only they and a few others have. The research behind conspiracy theories believes that these are some of the reasons why people so readily believe in conspiracy theories. Number one, they have a desire for understanding, and here's the most important thing, they have a desire for certainty. Certainty is our enemy. And earlier when I was saying, as life unfolds and we get more and more information, if we're already certain about what happens, we can often keep out the information that contradicts what we already believe. And if you look at the world, so many people would rather have a leader, a political leader, a religious leader, a business leader, a family leader that has certainty over truth. They have a desire for control and security. These conspiracy theories give them some sense of control. They have a desire to maintain a positive self-image. They strongly rely on intuition. They feel a sense of antagonism and superiority towards others. They have a need to belong or feel special. They have a sense of disenfranchisement, and that relates to that other one that said the desire to maintain a positive self-image, and they have feelings of anxiety. When something happens, us wanting to interpret it, figure it out, is a natural human reaction. That's what we need to do. But often we have, if we're honest, we have very big gaps of information in our knowledge and understanding. If we are not comfortable living with the unfolding of life and gathering more information and being okay with holding two maybe opposing thoughts or ideas at once, we rush to fill in those gaps. And that's where conspiracy theories often come in. When we ask these questions, we also can quickly find answers, but they're not necessarily true answers. Rather, they're answers that comfort us, or, and this is the big one, confirm our worldview. We all live inside a paradigm, and this paradigm is a framework for thinking. It's a framework for interpreting the world. There are people that believe everybody's out to get them. There are people that believe that other people don't do things with correct motives. They always have a hidden agenda. They interpret the world that way. There's people on the other end of that spectrum that believe everyone's good. They're coming from a good place. They just expect that. Either way, we have a worldview. And we have confirmation biases all the time, wanting to confirm that what we believe is true. Look at your life. Look at the lives of others around you, online, in person. Very often, we fill our lives, we surround ourselves with others, quote unquote, news agencies, online communities, in-person communities that confirm what we already believe. It's an echo chamber. And that echo chamber just says, yeah, your worldview is right. And not only is the people who disagree with you, not only is their worldview wrong, but they are actually evil. They have this horrible hidden agenda. That's why your political candidate is the second coming. And theirs is the Antichrist. Yours is good, theirs is evil. Your motivations of your religion, your political party, your family, your social group is good and pure, and theirs, the other, is evil. It's coming from a bad place. It's trying to deceive you and trick you and control you. Conspiracy theories are false beliefs by definition. But people who believe in them have a vested interest in maintaining them. They've spent a lot of time and effort in researching and coming up with these theories, and they want them to be true. Think about what I said about certainty. Uncertainty is an unpleasant state, and conspiracy theories provide a sense of understanding and certainty that is comforting. I know what the truth is. I know what reality is. I know what's right. No, just no questions. I'm certain. The conspiracy theorists involve the desire for control and security and the desire to maintain a positive self-image. Research shows that people who feel socially marginalized are more likely to believe in conspiracy theories than anyone else. To me, there's the micro interpersonal gaslighting. There's the macro of conspiracy theories. They both are an attempt to control, manipulate, to give a sense of certainty, authoritarianism, where you don't ask, you don't question, you just believe, you just accept. You accept that what I'm telling you is the truth. The way I see it is what's right. It's dangerous. And our lives will be better if we'll take a closer look at these things and make sure we're not being gaslit and we're not doing that to anyone else. And that we're not believing conspiracy theories, and if at all possible, help others to let go of theirs. We're out of time. I have a lot more to share. Maybe we'll do a second part next week. Sorry that we didn't leave enough time for discussion, but like I said, I'll finish next week and then we'll discuss it more then. Thank y'all so much for being here. Hope y'all have a great week.
Have a great week.
Love y'all.
Love ya.